Brenden.
This is the big show, baby.
Serving up takes on Mizzou, the pros, and everything in between. Want to join in? Call or text the show at 573-875-KTGR. The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome in to Thursday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey, Brenden Schaefer here. We don't mean to alarm you, but there's been a time change for Saturday. Less than 48 hours to go, and now even less than that you have to get over to Faurot Field for Saturday. Hope you make it at this point in time, right? Boy.
Hey, we told you to leave early, get to the stadium early, get there earlier than you were planning to, unless you want to just show up in like the middle of the third quarter or something. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that's your plan. But yep, new kick time for Mizzou, Louisiana.
So we'll get to that. We'll get to over-unders for Mizzou and ULL, as they've been called in the past. I guess they just go by Louisiana now. That's the branding sort of thing. Yeah, Louisiana Lafayette.
Okay. Yeah, they dropped the Lafayette mostly, didn't they? Yeah,
they're trying to cut that off and be Louisiana's school. I guess we'll see if that works. We'll talk about
it's an interesting strategy.
I mean, there is another one there, I guess. Over-unders for Mizzou, Louisiana. Over-unders for Chiefs, Eagles, Super Bowl rematch coming up Sunday. And one that the Chiefs might need to get. Don't fall 0-2, right? We'll see. And look, promising news on Xavier Worthy today, it seems. So we'll get to that as well. You're not convinced?
I'm not convinced.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, sir.
We'll get to that. We'll get to Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He joins us at 4:25 to talk some Mizzou and fantasy football talk. Play, fade, eliminate at 5:25. 875-KTGR to call us or text us. You can tweet us at KTGR Big Show. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show, and streaming live right now on YouTube at KTGR Sports.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Time change for Saturday. Noon kickoff now between Mizzou and Louisiana instead of the originally scheduled 3 p.m. TV does not change. Radio does not change. You can still hear it right here on KTGR. We'll just have coverage beginning for you a little bit earlier. 9 a.m. Yingling Tiger Game Day show for you on Saturday morning. The Mizzou Athletic Department making the announcement official this afternoon. They say due to the extreme temperatures expected in Columbia that afternoon, they are moving the game time up to try and avoid that heat. And so noon kickoff for Mizzou and Louisiana for their first ever meeting in football. Tigers trying to start 3-0 with wins already over Central Arkansas and Kansas to start out 2025. So we'll see how the Tigers look in game 3 of the season. That is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 11th day of September 2025. Call or text us here at 875-KTGR to discuss some stuff with us. Mizzou football, of course, the news today that the time is changing. Generally, folks are, they're fine with it. I think I'm definitely fine with it. I'm not gonna argue for a later start time.
You
That's
love
for
earlier
sure.
kick times.
Well,
Yeah.
especially for games like this. Like these are the non-conference games. It's Mizzou facing a group of 5. You expect that they will win this one and probably put it in hand by a certain amount of time. Louisiana obviously will try to do whatever they can to not make that the case, but we know how this is kind of going to go. So let's get it over with sooner, I think. Night games for sure. Night game for South Carolina, that's awesome. Make a night game for the other big-time opponents that you've got. I know technically Alabama's 11 a.m., fine. But generally speaking, big games, put them at night. Games like this where you pretty much know what's going to happen, put them earlier.
You don't want to overlook the opponent, though. I guess that's like the one question. But we're talking about a 27-point spread. I mean, this is not supposed to be a competitive game. And the tweet from Eli Drinkwitz is what tipped me off this afternoon to the fact that this might be a real thing. Rumors began to sort of circulate, and then Drink had a tweet about the great ones having the ability to adjust and make adjustments. And I
You a
thought,
little
as long as
spooked
he's
by
just talking
that?
about
Like,
what's that?
Were you spooked a little bit by that? About
Yes, I even retweeted and said, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, but are we adjusting to anything in particular? Just so I can know for my own sanity. And I was hoping it would be the news about the kick time changing, because that's far less sinister than, an injury or something that we didn't know about. And so as a Mizzou fan, I was like, I hope that's what he's referencing here. It didn't feel like it was just like out of the blue, no reason. I was like, there feels like there's something behind this tweet. And so that was ultimately the case. They move it up 3 hours. I've seen some folks going, I mean, is it really going to help a lot with the heat? I don't know. I think part of it is probably the turf, with all those rubber pellets on the turf. Like, when you know what the field is actually made of, that stuff gets hot, like real hot, especially when you get into 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And so I feel like that's probably one of the benefits of moving the game time up.
And also because people are asking, like, well, why not just move it at night? Why not put it at 6 or 6:30? Well, the players are out there warming up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock.
Right.
You want to avoid that still. So, like, that moving it up earlier, I think, is the best call for all of that, because you're still, like, if everything goes well for Mizzou, you're getting the players off the field, maybe around 3 o'clock or so. And then by that time, it'll start to get a little heated at that point, but not to the extreme levels that you're talking for, like the late afternoon when the sun's been beaten for so long, everything like that.
Right. 3 o'clock is probably about, like, that 3 o'clock hour is probably about the worst of the day. And to your point, it's not like if the game were at 3, they're starting to get out on the field at 3. They're starting to get on the field at 1.
Yeah.
And they're out there for a while. And, like, so that builds up and kind of gets to you. And then you start talking about during the game, it ramps up right during the the hottest part of the day. And you have concern about hydration. You have concern about cramping. You have concern for injury, all of those things. I'm sure that this was Mizzou athletics getting in, conjunction with Louisiana's side and coming to terms on, what they needed to figure out. Hopefully you just root for everybody to get through the game healthy. There not to be any, heat related issues for the players. And I think ultimately it made sense to bump it up a little bit. They didn't bump it up all the way to 11, right? I guess you could have done that, but that would have, now you're really talking about changing the dynamic pretty significantly from a mid-afternoon to now guys are in the morning getting out there on the field. So I think they did the best of both worlds.
It's a fine compromise. That's a good thing for the players, and I think for fans too, because of the early start time. They don't want to make it all the way over to 11 a.m. I think noon is a very good middle ground for that, to keep everybody safe, and then do all that stuff. And also the fact that this isn't on an actual TV channel makes this also a lot easier
it's just
to move.
Streaming, right?
It's just on the pluses, if you will. You'll need some sort of subscription. You think you don't need a subscription to listen, by the way, just so you know. Right here
true.
on KTGR, we'll start our coverage bright and early at 9 a.m. with the Yingling Tiger Game Day show. So look, I think a solid move, and we'll see what it does, but I wouldn't expect the outcome of the game. I'm not changing my score prediction based on any of this, and just, get through it a little sooner. That's fine.
Good with it. Let's roll.
Over-unders. What do you think?
Well, it's a good question. Will the game time change mean that
again? No, it won't.
Jurisdictions of legality. No, I'm wondering if the time change will impact anything. A lot of times when it's a more marquee matchup, we might have our friends at various jurisdictions of legality giving us some insights as to what the player prop markets may be doing. This one, when you're talking about a 27-point spread, it's one of those where, there might not be a whole lot out there. So we may be on our own, but I will take a look and see. 27.5, the current number there, and not really much in the way of player stuff. So, I think we can kind of make our own lines. That's when it can be the most fun, and we can challenge each other.
Here's one that I think could be key for Mizzou's path through this game. If they do want to, in fact, make it a blowout, get some reserves in the fourth quarter, ways they want to do it. Got to stop the run.
Yeah.
Louisiana's been running it very well here the first couple of games, averaging a little bit underneath what Mizzou has averaged, 233 yards per game on the ground. Mizzou has been at 240, and both of the Mizzou's 23 nationally. Louisiana is 24 nationally through the first couple of games in that category. They won't get to 233. If that happens, then you're asking some questions.
Yeah.
I will set it at 129.5 for the rushing total for Louisiana in this game.
I think Mizzou will do well against the run. Kansas had like 3 yards.
Yeah.
If you include that fumbled safety situation, otherwise it would have been 28.
Yeah.
And like they were really impressive against the run. The Jayhawks had a better quarterback that could throw on you to where they could afford to be a little bit more balanced. This team cannot do that. I believe the depth chart is still showing Daniel Beal as the starter for Louisiana.
That'll probably be right.
And he is the gentleman that took over. Walker Howard was the starter in game 1. He was injured. Last week, the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns took on McNeese State and beat them 34-10. That's an FCS opponent. And their quarterback threw for 86 yards. So I think these guys may go over that 129.5 as a team rushing yards, but only because I think in order to try to keep it respectable, it's almost all they're going to do. I don't think they're going to, maybe I'm wrong, but as long as Mizzou can get a pass rush, I don't feel like they're going to be looking for Daniel Beal to drop back a bunch and try and throw their way. I think it's ball control and like if I'm Louisiana, time of possession, I'm just trying to go 3 yards in a cloud of dust just to try to keep hold of the ball, to keep it out of Bo Perbula's hands, out of Ahmad Hardy's hands, out of Jamal Roberts' hands. So I'll say over that, but I'm not concerned for Mizzou's defense when I say that. I think it's more stylistic to what I expect Louisiana to want to do offensively, because I think they're going to be very one-dimensional. I don't think they're going to be able to throw the ball on Missouri in this game.
They might have to, though. And
no,
that is how Mizzou has given up their yards defensively this year. So maybe they at least make the type of adjustment that they're seeing on tape with what Mizzou's defense has shown so far. And maybe Mizzou's able to take that off, but I don't know.
We can put on a passing yardage guess for the Louisiana quarterbacks. I know we started with the run. I'll take you to their other game that they've played so far this year. Louisiana lost to Rice. That's an FBS game. That was a home game, I believe, for Louisiana. Yeah. They lost it 14-12, and Walker Howard was their QB1, threw for 88 yards in that game. So, like, these are games that were a lot more closely contested. Even the loss was not like this loss is going to be. And so you're right. Like, when you're down 3 touchdowns, are you really going to continue to pound the rock? I'm thinking maybe, because the few times that they do try to throw it, yes, it'll probably be more pass attempts than they've had in their first 2 games because of the score. I think this is going to be a game where Eli Drinkwitz and Corey Batoon, they are stressing to that defense, especially the back end. They're playing the tape. There's a reason to me that Drink spent time on Tuesday in the press conference. I don't know if calling out is the right word, but really like calling attention to, hey, we've got improvements we want to make in the secondary compared to what we did against Kansas. We got away with some things that on the tape we're working on, and we're calling attention to it this week. I think it's like, we've talked about this being a game where maybe Mizzou can shut them out. But I think that's going to be, yes, on the pass rush, but the back end as well. I think they're going to have to play with some pride, because they should dominate this team on that side of the ball. So while I say over 129.5 rush yards, I'm thinking like barely over that. And I don't know, where would you set the passing yardage line for the game? Because
99.5, 99.5 probably.
I'm going under. Okay. I really am. All right. I don't think they're going to be able to throw the football. I'm going to, you know what? Dalen Carnell wanted, I don't know if this is applicable. I'm not really a journalist when it comes to Mizzou. All right. I'm the biggest homer out there. I get it. But, he said, don't doubt the back end. That's what he told Zach Sweet. Don't doubt the back end of this Tiger defense. I think this is a week where they really have to go out there and shine to show why, nobody should be looking at that Kansas tape anymore and talking about, they definitely had some leaky moments. Go out and dominate a team that hasn't been able to throw the ball for 100 yards in either of their first 2 games, including a game against an FCS opponent. I'm going under 99.5 passing yards for Louisiana in this game. There will not be a breakdown. There will not be a 40-yard over our heads type of play. I am going to have full confidence in this defense because this is the type of game where I think you build that confidence by playing your A game. Even though it's like we don't really need to, right, to win, that's not the way Drink is going to treat this game. He's going to want these guys motivated to not necessarily embarrass the other side, but you want to say we are that much better than this team in this aspect of football that we have to be able to dominate, to give us the confidence for when that better competition comes along. Pretend like this is Lenora Sellers, because next week it's going to be. They have to treat every play like that and ensure that there are no breakdowns. And I trust them to do that this week. So give me under 99.5, even though it's going to be a negative game script for Louisiana.
875 KTGR. You can weigh in. Give us over-unders for Mizzou, Louisiana, the game that has the time change for Saturday. It's now noon instead of 3 p.m. And you can let us know what you want us to weigh in on for over-unders. And again, we don't have a lot on players at this point, but where would you put Bo Prabula's totals on a type of game like this?
Do you want passing or rushing?
Either.
All right, let's start with passing. He threw for 39 yards against Kansas?
Over 330, yeah, somewhere above that number.
I mean, he was great. He was really good in that game. I think this is more akin to the Central Arkansas game. You're facing, I think this opponent is better than Central Arkansas. I don't know if they're a lot better than them, though. 283 yards passing in that game. I also think, though, this is going to be a game where Mizzou is going to run. Both here's one for you. Over under 1.5 running backs with a triple-digit rushing total. Because I'm going to say both
the same thing like they did last week.
Both Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts are going for 100 or more.
Oh,
Bo won't, because I think they're going to really play it a little bit more safe with him when it comes to running the football this week. But I'll go 249.5 for Bo through the air.
I'll say over on that. I'll say under on the running back one you gave.
All right,
one
so
of them could get there
a little more than I'm expecting.
Well,
I don't think they're going to need to throw, is my thing.
But they probably still will. They didn't need to throw against Central Arkansas, but Bo still got to 280 something, right? I think there will still be big plays to be had, and that's how you can add chunks to the total that Bo Prabula will be piling up. And so then you could get to potentially a number like 249.5 with that. And on the running stuff, I think it'll be a balance. But at what point do they say, okay, we don't need to use Ahmad Hardy as much, or we don't need to use Jamal Roberts as much? Let's see what Marquise Davis has. Let's see what Tavares Jones has.
Okay, so fine. Marquise Davis will also run for 100 yards. Is that what you want me to say? Give me a number. Give me a number. Team rushing yards for. I was trying to look up. Do we know the record for Mizzou rushing yards in a game as a team? Because it's not going to just be one guy. It's going to be a team effort.
You want the actual school record? You want me to try and find that?
I want to know I want to know the single game school rushing record for Missouri as a team.
Well, give me some time on that. But
I'm looking. I googled for it. It looks like Tyler Beatty had a big one, 219 yards. That was a few years ago. I'm looking at Cody Schrader's game logs, but again, that's even still individual.
You're looking for team rushing.
I want team. That game against Tennessee, he went for 205. And I think that was the game. Remember where Drink was ready for Cody to go back out there and break Tyler Beatty's record because he needed 14 more yards. And Cody said, let's let the next guy have an opportunity, and didn't want to just go for the glory of his own personal accolades in that game. I believe that was the game that I'm thinking of. So 219 might be the record by a single player, with Beatty doing it in the Battle Line game 2021. Someone's breaking that potentially on Saturday, but I feel pretty confident that you're going to see. I mean, throw out a number. I don't know what the record is, but I think the record could be shattered in this game.
I will throw out the team rushing. I will throw out 224.5.
Oh, way over. Way over.
Okay.
Yeah. You could give me 299.5, and I would say over. I mean, against Kansas, Jamal had 140. Ahmad was like 120. So that was, I mean, they were probably pushing 300 as a team in that game. This is going to be, you're right. Marquise Davis probably gets some run. Tavares Jones gets some run. I'm going to say they go 350 or more rushing yards as a team. in this game.
350.
Give me over 349.5 team rushing yards.
Oh, my goodness.
For the Tigers on Saturday.
Oh, boy.
I got Bo a couple hundred passing yards. I just don't know if I think they're going to have such an easy time running the football against this team. Rice, in that game against Rice, ran for 206 yards on Louisiana in a game that was close, right? And Rice doesn't really appear to have much of a passing game. But I feel like Mizzou is going to be up a couple scores, and they're going to run it on first down. And, what happens oftentimes when you run on first down, you get 2 yards. Like, all right, 2nd and 8. Now we're probably maybe in a bit of a passing down. Do we throw something short, try to make it 3rd and short? Then, okay, now we can run it on 3rd and 2. When you run 1st and 10 and it goes for 40, I think you probably just run it again. I think they're going to run all over this team. I really do. The defensive backs are going to have a great game. The running backs from Mizzou, all 4 of them, I think are going to have good moments in this game.
Are you ready for the record number? I found
Yes.
it.
What do you got?
What's your guess on what it is?
357.
It took place October 6th, 1984 against Colorado. Wow. Mizzou had 516 yards rushing that day.
Damn it. That's more than I bargained for.
Yeah,
but
I don't think they're setting that record, unfortunately.
I'm still going to say I'm still going to say that there is a chance.
Okay.
They'll need the defense not to get too many interceptions that lead to short fields, though. We need the Louisiana punters to be really good, pin them deep, so that it's like a 96-yard touchdown drive. No, I don't think 500 might be a tough ask. I feel pretty good about predicting that this is going to be the most prolific rushing day of the season for Mizzou.
Well, you could make it like Central Arkansas did. I mean, they had 2 different people down a punt at the 1-yard line.
Yeah.
When did that ever happen before? Like that. I know Brad Trinago asked that on Twitter, and I was thinking it in the moment when it happened because the punter did it, and then the quarterback did the pooch punt, and both of those punts were down at the 1. When was the last time a college football team had 2 different players?
Maybe never.
Kick a punt
really impressive.
That was down at the 1, and then Mizzou took both for touchdowns. The ensuing drive resulted in a touchdown after both of those punts.
One of the plays was nearly one that they were going to break, and I thought for a moment it was going to be a 99-yard, which would have had to have been like the school record or tying it. I don't know what the longest touchdown is in Mizzou history, but yeah, that was a weird quirk. It reminds me of, I know we're talking football, but the Cardinals this week had defensively had 2 baseballs that hit the third base bag and just popped into left field. I've never seen it once.
Yeah, that's
and
wild.
I just saw it twice in 2 days. That's what's akin to that punt. 2 different guys downing one at the 1 is pretty impressive.
That was incredible. Over-unders, you can text them in. 875-KTGR will weigh in on them. Daniel's saying over-under Mr. Brightside 2 times. No, it'll be under this week, unfortunately. No, it will not be.
Just the 1.
Yeah, but the over hits that we set for the show before the game even ended. That was cool. True. Last week.
Yeah, I was wrong about that. They went hard for the Mr. Brightside, unsurprisingly.
Hey. It worked. So Mizzou looking to keep things going against Louisiana. Again, time change, noon kickoff on Saturday instead of 3 p.m. So update your calendars on that. We will have Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch joining us next to dive deeper on all things Tigers. He'll join us here on The Big Show, KTGR.
The Big Show with Andy and Brenden continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for ProfitShares.com. This is a fun way to stay engaged all football season long. Whether you're more a college fan or a professional fan, you can go to ProfitShares.com, show off your knowledge with all the predictions you can make. It is 100% free to play at ProfitShares.com as well. And if you do well enough with your picks, you can redeem for gift cards and charitable donations. So if you're like me and you like those risk-free games that you want to try out, go to ProfitShares.com. That's PROPHET shares.com. They have contests running all season long for football season. You can enter in each and every week and be the guy that gets the most picks right for every single slate of games. They've also got a survivor contest that you can enter into. Major League Baseball, you can enter into contests for that. Once we get to the winter, basketball will be starting up. You can enter in for that as well. And again, totally free to play at ProfitShares.com. That's PROPHET shares.com.
My name is Caroline, and I would highly recommend True Sun Exteriors and Interiors. Our house was built in 1980, and it had the original cedar siding. The wildlife in our yard were tag teaming it. The woodpeckers would start, and then the next thing you know, we would have squirrels in the walls. When we met with True Sun, they suggested we make the switch to LP Smart siding because it would be more resilient against the weather that we have, and also it would keep those squirrels out of the house. When I went to the showroom, they were so happy to answer all of my questions. The support from all levels of this project has been great. True Sun is a company that really cares about the quality of the work that they're doing. They really want the results to be lasting, they want the results to look good, and they want you to be happy with it.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com. Shangri-La is proud to be a part of every black and gold home game this season at the Zimmer Tiger Tailgate. Swing by our tent to play games, win prizes, and hang out with Missouri's top team of cannabis aficionados. Want to join the fun? Pick up your free Tiger Tailgate tickets at any Shangri-La location. Then come find us on game day. We'll be bringing the energy, the prizes, and the community spirit that makes Tiger football unforgettable. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
If you're craving something delicious, find your way to the Pasta Factory, where everything's made from scratch daily. Their fresh sauces, cakes, quiche, dressings, and soups are sure to tantalize your taste buds. And all pasta entrees are cooked, baked, and tossed to order. Don't leave without sampling those homemade desserts, lovingly crafted by Jason and Rob. Good. The Pasta Factory. Visit them at 3103 West Broadway Business Park, right in front of Walmart. Closed Mondays and Tuesdays. The Pasta Factory, where fresh meets flavor.
You know that old driver in the corner of your garage? The one half jammed into an old golf bag that's now serving as a spider hotel? Yeah, somebody wants that driver, you know. Play it against sports. They'll pay you for the gear you're not using. Golf equipment, fitness gear, baseball, softball, and more. Bring it in and cash out, or upgrade to something you need for the upcoming season. Play it against sports once your used equipment. They need it. So don't sit on it, swing on it. Play it against sports in Columbia. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play it against sportscolumbiamo.com.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Again, time change, folks. Noon kickoff on Sunday for Mizzou and Louisiana. So update all your calendars, your planners for that. They do say that the digital tickets will be adjusted for that, but you still need to enter in on the side of the stadium where your seats are located. Otherwise, you will not have your tickets scanned properly. So still be aware of that as things roll along. Here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app, Andy and Brenden here. And joining us now on the KTGR Hotline to Talk to Tigers with us, Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Covers all things Mizzou Tigers over there at by Eli Hoff on Twitter. Interesting time change, but obviously for player safety, doesn't change much operatively, I'm sure, for how the game could potentially go. But as you have seen this Mizzou team now through 2 weeks, Eli, obviously an emotional win last Saturday, but what's been the main sticking point for you as you have watched them with your keen eye?
Yeah, well, I think first, real quick on the time change, I think it's worth noting that the air temp is pretty much going to be the same, but this is more about the turf just not being insanely hot. It's still going to be quite toasty, but it's more with that in mind for player safety. But as far as this team through 2 weeks, I think it's that first, it's pretty overwhelmingly positive. We can nitpick that game against KU and some of the zone coverage. We can nitpick the offensive line a little bit, but Bo Perbula has been as advertised, if not better than advertised. I think Ahmad Hardy's in that same category. I think some of the defensive transfers, especially Damon Wilson and Josiah Trotter, are in that area as well. So for everybody who was spending the month of August looking around at national projections and saying, why aren't they higher on Mizzou? Am I crazy for thinking this? So far, we can't say you're crazy. I think a lot of people were right to be excited about Mizzou, and so far they've proven them correct.
And Eli, why weren't we more excited about Jamal Roberts? Because he has looked incredible, and I think is what we kind of all said the same thing about Ahmad Hardy, like he's really going to be special. Jamal Roberts is saying, hey, I'm here too. What stood out to you about the way that he's performed the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's been incredible. I actually just filed a story today on Jamal Roberts and the breakout he's had. And the first bit of that story goes back to a conversation I had with Howard Richards, who of course is the analyst on the games. And he told me a couple weeks before the season, hey, don't forget about Jamal Roberts. And I'd been telling him how excited I was about Ahmad Hardy, as we all were. But he saw something in Jamal Roberts that now we have all seen through 2 games there. The pass protection has always been good from Jamal Roberts. He has this really uncanny way of reading defenses that you just don't see out of running backs very often, and so that has shown up, certainly his second season, which was 2024. But now we're seeing the running ability too, that he's having breakaway runs and he's hitting holes well. It's interesting. It's not a thunder and lightning tandem that he and Ahmad Hardy have, because they're both similarly sized. Ahmad's like 5'10", 210. Jamal Roberts is like 6', 220. Like they're pretty similar backs and have pretty similar rushing styles. But it seems like a good complement that's keeping Ahmad Hardy from having to have too many carries early on. And Jamal Roberts has talent, which is a good thing as well.
Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch with us on the Big Show KTGR. From what you've seen from Bo Pribula, I mean, we knew of him as a guy that Penn State that could really use his legs well, and he got excited about the type of dual threat that a quarterback like that could be. We hadn't seen as much of the throwing ability. Now that we've seen it through 2 weeks, and it's been pretty darn good from that, do you adjust at all what your thoughts were about Bo Pribula heading into this season versus now that he's put on tape a bunch of really ridiculous throws so far?
Yeah, I worry a little bit about overreacting, because it's only been 2 games, but at the same time, my idea of what his ceiling is has gone up, especially as a passer, because as a rusher, like we all knew that he was a very good running quarterback who could move a lot, so that was never going to be a surprise. But the arm he has, and not just the range, but the touch on some of those intermediate throws and some of those intermediate to deep outs, like, aside from threading the needle right over the middle, the deep out is probably the most difficult pass for any quarterback to consistently have. And I think Bo has that in his arsenal, which is really good. And it's to the point now where I'm not saying this is the case, but I'm entertaining more and more the possibility that Mizzou has upgraded at quarterback from the last 2 years. And Brady Cook was a very good starter for this team. But again, that's just the sort of thing that, like, I think it's possible. I need more games before I'll get there, but it's possible. And if you'd asked me that 4 weeks ago, I would have said you were crazy for thinking that was even on the table.
Yeah, to your point, from an upside portion of the conversation, we're seeing Bo, really be able to unlock a ceiling potentially. Is part of that maybe the same question when it comes to wide receivers on this team? Because it would sound almost more insane to say that Mizzou might have a better group of wide receivers, a better room top to bottom than it did a year ago, knowing Luther Burden's playing for the Bears. Theo Weiss is making his run at an NFL career. But what do you make about that room, Eli, from top to bottom and what we've seen so far through 2 games?
Yeah, again, if we would have said the wideouts are going to be better this year, we would have been laughed at every room we were in. But it seems possible, right? I think part of that is Kevin Coleman just being exactly what you need him to be, and his usage actually, I think, being better than Luther's was for whatever reason. That winds up being, it seems a little better there. Marquise Johnson's taking the sleep. I mean, how can you not watch Donovan Ogbode and not be excited about him and that talent there? I also think relevant to the receiving group is just that we're seeing a healthy Brett Norfleet for the first time since really the beginning of his freshman season. And I think that opens up a lot for everyone involved. Obviously, that's another dimension for the offense, but it's a fourth target who defenses have to cover off here. We've seen Kirby Moore likes to get crafty with some of those tight end routes. So I think that's helping, because no longer is there, with this Mizzou receiving core, no longer is there one clear target who you as a defense can double team and shut down. It's so much more spread out now across multiple wideouts, across the tight end, across the receiving options out of the backfield. I'd entertain that as well, that there could be an upgrade in the receiving core as well.
Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch with us on the Big Show KTGR and the KTGR app. When hearing Eli Drinkwitz earlier this week, yeah, you can sing praises, but he wasn't necessarily doing that, making sure that the team focuses on improving even from what they've done so far through 2 games. And specifically some things to point out on defense. When you saw how they operated against Jalen Daniels. Obviously did excellent against the run. Do you think that was just a sense of, look, they decided, let's just take that away, and if there are deep shots given up, so be it? Or do you maybe see them trying to strike that balance a little bit more as they venture on to these other opponents?
Yeah, I think there was a pretty significant emphasis in taking away the run, but the bigger shift over the course of the game was just really playing a lot of zone coverage, especially in that second half. And the way Drinkwitz sort of explained it is that they got burned on some of the man situations. I think the crystal clear example was that 50-yard reception. That's one where Dalen Carnell was stuck on an island in man coverage out there. KU got the mismatch. Credit to their offense. They schemed that up. And it's no offense to Dalen Carnell. That's just not a matchup he's going to win a whole lot. And he lost it there. So that led to more zone in the second half, which kept the roof on it, I guess. But at the same time, it was a pretty soft zone. I think there were some communication errors in there. It puts so much strain on the safeties, and not just that, but also what KU did in the backfield, that there was so much play action and motion and just that eye candy that you have to put yourself in the perspective of a safety who's 10 yards away, who, if it's a run, you have to come down to help with that. If it's a pass, you need to be occupying your zone wherever that is. That means you have to make that decision right there. And I think it was just a little bit slow, a little bit hesitant with some of that decision making, and then some wrong decisions made there. So it put some strain on that. Maybe simplifying it is the answer. We'll see there. But it was a lot of zone coverage that was leaving a lot of holes open on the back end.
And we won't necessarily know the degree to which that has been addressed from this upcoming game against Louisiana. But Eli, with what you know about this team, and obviously they're on a backup quarterback, they haven't had a lot of success through the air. This feels like a game where Drink and Corey Batoon may look to that secondary and say, we want you to put your best stuff on tape here because you have to act like it's Lenora Sellers, since in 1 week it's going to be. How do you just view stylistically the matchup where we've seen the Raging Cajuns have some success running the ball, but through the air, they just really haven't done much so far?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what their attack looks like in this one, because when you look at the numbers, this is a team that just loves to run the football, really almost exclusively wants to run the football. They almost have two running backs who have more rushing yards each than the whole team has passing yards. And some of that's due to the quarterback injury, right? But they want to run the football. So early on, that seems like it'll be their attack. But if this game goes like we think it will and Mizzou gets ahead by multiple scores, it's tough to see a Louisiana team like this winning and coming from behind while running the ball. That's antithetical in a football sense. So this does feel like the sort of game that could open up passing game wise in the second half, and that's where you need the defensive backs to be able to, like you said, put this on tape, really flash there, because it's going to get a lot more difficult with Lenora Sellers next week.
Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch with us on the big show KTGR. What score prediction do you have?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'll say Mizzou 38, Louisiana 13 will be my prediction.
Okay. That's close to a cover. It's not quite yet, but hey,
not quite. The line is moved. Yeah.
Here's my thought. I think because Louisiana is going to come out and run the ball, and Mizzou can be happy to do that too. I think this is a game that's going to go by pretty quick. Both teams want to get out of there before the heat. Like I could see this being a game where we look up and the first quarter's gone and it's been like 2.5 possessions. Like that sort of game is kind of what I'm envisioning here.
Yeah, very, very.
Do you think there could be one quick one? Do you think there could be anything going on in that building this week, though, to say, hey, against Central Arkansas, we gave up that late touchdown. I want to see a goose egg on the scoreboard at the end of it. I wonder if they might preach that a little bit, Eli. That's such a hard thing to be able to say, and then even more to go do. But I wonder if there might be a little bit of that energy this week.
I absolutely, especially if the coaches have been going after this defense in practice all week for, hey, that game against KU wasn't good enough. I could see that being a really fiery showing here. And remember, Mizzou had the shutout against Buffalo last year. It wasn't just South Dakota they shut out. This game equivalent last year, if we can put it in those terms, was a shutout. So yeah, absolutely on the table. I could see it.
Eli Hoff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch here on the big show. We've seen some basketball news this week as well. And today, an injury update for what could impact this season. The team saying that Trent Burns undergoing surgery to repair a stress reaction in his right foot. 6 weeks out, and then the timeline hopefully puts him back on the floor 8 to 12 weeks. They project that probably puts him on there for a return potentially in November. kind of when the season's starting up. Well, how do you kind of see that? And especially when Mizzou looks at the depth they have at the big man position, and look, they wanted to work Trent Burns in last year, but couldn't because of injury. Do you worry at all about him? And then maybe look at what Mizzou has down low that they want to keep developing going forward.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where it with those stress fractures that you get, especially in a foot, it's something where it seems like last year they thought this could heal on its own with rest, which can happen, and then that hasn't been the case this offseason. So now was kind of probably the last possible moment to go get this procedure and not lose a huge part of the season. So it seems like that should lead to a full recovery. You hope that's the case because Trent Burns is just too promising a player to have something like this dog him for the course of his career. So you really hope that's not the case. It's something where this is going to put a little bit more of an emphasis on the transfers to come in and start in that front court, which might have been the case all along. It might have been Sean Phillips starting over Trent Burns during that November 3rd game against Howard anyway. But it just means there's going to be more time for the transfers to get settled in. Maybe the lineups go a little smaller early on. I'm not sure how we'll see that. But then it's also going to be then that probably back half of November, depending on what the time frame is here, is when we're going to get our first look at Trent Burns. And I think that's going to be very, very exciting to see how that ramps in, just because it's not just a matter of depth in the front court. He's 7'5". He's a totally different type of, like, if he is what we think he is, he's a totally different type of player to anybody else on this team. So it's not like it'll be a linear backup or he just comes in and backs up anybody else. This will be a whole other dimension that'll be really exciting. But again, first and foremost, just hope this all goes well for him and he's able to get ramped up properly, because it's just too exciting for that not to be the case.
Yeah, and so a little concerned for this season when it comes to that. Next season, there's nothing but excitement. Now that Mizzou has not one but 2 5-stars verbally committed for the class of 2026 for Dennis Gates, Tony Bryant making that announcement earlier this week. So how do you view that in the context of what we've seen from Dennis Gates in both realms, both on the court, coaching this team, and also getting the talent in the room that we haven't seen a whole lot of, certainly not recently?
Yeah, this is we've known Dennis Gates is a good recruiter, and I think pretty consistently praised him for that his entire tenure here. But this is a different level of recruiting when you're going after these 5-stars, these guys who are potential one and dones. Like it's a different level because they're playing a different game, they're on a different trajectory. But I think it's notable that he went out and found a couple of guys who it seems like really fit the MO of his program. That look, Jason Crow Jr. and Tony Bryant, they're not playing for free. But I don't get the sense that they were out there chasing money in the same way that you see some of these really top tier prospects go after it. They're coming to Mizzou to get developed, to work with this coaching staff. If that is only 1 year and they're off to the NBA, cool. If that's 2 years, cool. If that's 4, it seems like they're willing to accept what that journey is going to be. And that's been Mizzou's pitch. So it feels like this is not just a good job by Dennis Gates to secure the services of these guys, but to really find 2 recruits who fit what this program is about, and they happen to be that top-level 5-star type recruit. I think that gets a big testament to him there. Again, it's going to be hard to know what pieces are around him because there's so much time to go before then, but I think there are probably some Mizzou fans who maybe let themselves this week Google where the 2027 Final Four is and see if they can start figuring out a trip there.
Brenden, do you know when it is? Are we sure?
I don't know, but I've got time to get there. Okay. I'm not worried about it. Right. Whether it's drivable or not, I'll be there.
A little more advanced notice than maybe this week with the football game, but hey, we'll see. People will adjust. People will get there. But again, noon on Saturday instead of 3 p.m. for Mizzou and Louisiana. We'll be looking forward to it along with Eli Hoff, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Go see his great work over at the St. Louis Post and on Twitter @by Eli Hoff. Thanks, Eli, for coming on the big show. Hope you're well. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, guys.
You bet. It is 4:45 here on the big show, KTGR. Do we know? I didn't quickly do my Google search here, but I'll probably do it during the break and see where it is.
Yeah, we'll find out and see what we need to do as far as hotel rooms and things like that. I think that's reasonable.
Certainly a thing that we need to get ahead of on that. Under the Bus is coming up next. Look, Big Ten, are you really going to go down this road? It hasn't been a very fruitful one for other conferences. Next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Time change for Mizzou versus Louisiana this Saturday as the Tigers and Ragin' Cajuns will now kick off at noon on Faurot Field instead of the originally scheduled 3 p.m. The change made, according to Mizzou Athletics, due to the extreme high temperatures expected that afternoon. Tigers will face the Ragin' Cajuns in football for the first time ever, hoping to make it a 3-0 start as they've already got wins over Central Arkansas and Kansas so far this season. Again, noon kickoff for Mizzou in Louisiana on Saturday. The Yuengling Tiger Game Day show begins at 9 a.m. right here on KTGR. Mizzou basketball announced today that 7'5" redshirt freshman center Trent Burns underwent a procedure to repair a stress reaction in his right foot. He is expected to be out 6 weeks with a full recovery timeline expected to be between 8 and 12 weeks. He missed all of last season due to injury. Mizzou starts the season in basketball November 3rd. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with the Boone County Office of Emergency Management. 5th Annual Ready Festival next Thursday from 4 to 8 p.m. Visit ready.boonemo.org.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking a mild and clear night as we drop down into the mid-60s. Tomorrow's hotter with highs making it up into the mid-90s with sunny skies. Tomorrow evening, we're going to be dropping back down into the upper 60s with a warm Saturday ahead. We'll see highs getting up into the upper 90s with sunshine. We'll see an isolated chance for storms and highs in the 90s on Sunday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Did you miss the Mizzou Play of the Week?
Roberts running to the left side, trying to angle outside of the 40, 45, left sideline to midfield, to the 35, a foot race to the 20. Roberts angling back to the 5, to the house, 63-yard run by Jamal Roberts. And Missouri takes a 10-point lead over Kansas with 1:49 to play. How about those Tigers?
The Mizzou Play of the Week is powered by Yuengling. Your home for Mizzou football is KTGR.
Hey, it's Andy and Brenden here with Underdog Fantasy. As we get closer to the weekends, you're getting those football picks ready, I'm sure, with Underdog. Go and check out the app now. It's really easy to use, and there are so many picks to choose from college football, NFL football, and all other sports happening this weekend, Brenden.
Yeah, how about some Thursday night college football for you between Wake Forest and NC State? The Wake Forest quarterback Robbie Ashford has been getting involved in the running game. I like him to go higher than 44.5 rushing yards on Thursday night against the Wolfpack.
Hey, that's an interesting one. You could take a pick like that, pair it up with the Thursday night NFL game tonight, maybe throw in some picks for later this weekend, and you've got yourself an Underdog entry. It's that easy to play. Download the Underdog app. You can play right now in Missouri and sign up with our promo code KTGR to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code KTGR. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Time is running out for the best full and part-time jobs in Columbia. Miller's Professional Imaging, the largest photography lab organization in the United States, is hiring. If you are energetic and enthusiastic, Miller's Professional Imaging wants you. Miller's offers competitive salaries up to $23 per hour with monthly profit sharing and no experience necessary. Don't wait. Time is running out for the best job in Columbia. To apply, please fill out an application under the employment link at millerslab.com.
Winter's on the way, so now's the time to plan your tree pruning. Here's why. In winter, trees are dormant, which means they're less risk of disease. Plus, without all those leaves, it's way easier to see exactly what needs trimming. The educated, licensed, insured, and experienced crew at Advanced Tree Solutions knows how to protect your trees and your wallet. But spots are filling fast, so schedule your winter pruning today at AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. Advanced Tree Solutions, LLC, your tree's best friend.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering, and with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
School's back. Schedules are packed, and the last thing you need is a list of home repairs. So reclaim your weekends with Bags Homeworks, the fastest, most affordable handyman service in mid-Missouri. Whether it's mounting that new TV, fixing leaky faucets, or replacing a ceiling fan, Bags has you covered. No job's too small, and no wait is too long. Visit Bags Homeworks on Facebook for monthly giveaways and awesome prizes. For more, visit bagshomeworks.com. Bags Homeworks, getting your to-do list done.
It's time to leave those regular malt beverages in the doghouse and adopt Lucky One Lemonade. Made with real vodka and real juice, Lucky One is a premium alcoholic beverage with no artificial flavors, no bubbles, and is only 100 calories. With 4 flavors, blueberry, peach, raspberry, and regular, and money from each pack sold goes to help rescue dogs find their forever home. Come taste Lucky One Lemonade at this year's Zimmer Tiger Tailgate. From backyard hangs to tailgate sips, Lucky One Lemonade is the upgrade that your cooler deserves.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
I don't like where this could potentially go for the Big Ten. The AD, or the school president, I should say, of Ohio State, talked to USA Today when the revenue sharing numbers came out for the conference, and the Big Ten, typically they've got equal revenue sharing across the board, just like the SEC does. Each school gets the same amount, and that's all the TV money that comes in and everything else. Everybody gets an even disbursement of those dollars. Well, Ted Carter, school president for Ohio State, not outright saying, but maybe hinting at the idea that the Big Ten should probably favor a couple of schools maybe over the others, based on the number of eyeballs that those certain brands, as he calls it, brings into the conference. I think you can tell which schools he's talking about there, and one of them is most definitely his own. But the thing is, ACC already does this, and it's not looking all that great for the future of that conference. This already killed the iteration of the Big 12 that we grew up with Texas and Oklahoma playing this same game and then leaving the conference and forced others to leave before them. And so I don't know if you want to go down this path, Ohio State and everybody else in the Big Ten. Like, I feel like you need to maybe stand at where you're at because you've got a pretty strong conference as is. Don't do anything different with it.
I know we sometimes have things to say about Greg Sankey. I think he's actually one of the best commissioners in sports, not just college football, but like, I think the SEC is in a spot where it gets that you have to, treat and like, look, on the field, there's some situations that may not be the case. The committee certainly favors maybe one SEC school over another. Yeah. But generally, I think the conference does a pretty good job of giving everybody their equal due, whether it's financially or otherwise. And like, that matters.
Absolutely. And if the Big Ten wants to go that way, fine. It's not to say that the Big Ten does want to. It's just Ohio State's school president hinting that they could. And yeah, it's going to benefit you, but does it benefit everybody? No, it probably does not. And I don't know if I'm out on a limb with this one. I'm not really hating on the change that the NBA made to how their statistics get tabulated. Essentially, they said yesterday that if you have like a half-court heave at the end of a quarter or a half or something like that and you miss it, you're no longer going to have that miss count against your stats. Which, if that encourages more of those shots to be taken, great. But is that really what we needed to do to incentivize players enough to make those half-court heaves in the first place? Is scoring for your team not enough of an incentive that you have to risk?
Not.
Like,
no, not for these NBA divas. It's not. No, I guarantee you the reason they made this change is because they heard from or have seen enough evidence of players not doing it because they don't want to harm their shooting percentage. I almost promise you that that's been a factor, and so that's probably why they address it in this way. It's stupid that would be the case, but it also doesn't really surprise me. NBA players have certain things that they fixate upon that maybe don't make sense to the rest of us, but I it's not surprising to me that would be the case.
Yeah, it just seems that the fact that this rule change had to be put in place is what upsets me the most, more so than the rule change. Like, look, if it works, fine, but I don't know. I don't like the way that we got here with the NBA, but that is how the NBA works nowadays. It is it feels a lot more individualized for each player.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it goes. I thought earlier this week we saw that Armand Membou had like the best grade among rookie offensive linemen that were making their debuts in week 1. I mean, it seems that he actually beat everybody out. Pro Football Focus says, best graded offensive lineman week 1, Armand Membou. Everybody. That's not just rookies, everybody in the NFL. That's not bad.
It's pretty good. I mean, he's pretty good. We knew he was good. I don't think the Jets are regretting picking him up when they did in the draft last year.
That was a smart move by them, and can't wait for what Armand Membou does with the rest of this season and beyond. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. We're going to talk Chiefs and Eagles over-unders for a game that the Chiefs might need to get. At 5:05, be sure to bring your over-unders for that. Play Fade Eliminate as well. Text in your fantasy football questions to us, and we will answer them. You can also comment on our YouTube channel at KTGR Sports as we roll along on the Big Show.
My name is Scott Concannon, and I've been a client of Phyllis Nichols for the past 5 years. We currently have policies with 2 automobiles, homeowners, and life insurance for my fiance. I chose Phyllis Nichols because she gave me great pricing at the time I needed it. She was able to give me a quote basically within 10 minutes of me asking for it. We've just increased our policies within her company since then. Phyllis is one of the few agents I've ever run into that will go to bat for you. I think there's a reason why they call it the 12-round agent.
At Lee's Tire Company, they're family, not just because they spend a lot of time together, or argue once in a while, or because they wanted something catchy to say. Lee's Tire Company has been family-owned for over 5 decades, and that's not changing anytime soon. Plus, it works out for you because you can't pick your family, but you can pick your tire place. And once you pick Lee's, you're family forever.
Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Ooh, see Lee's.
1851 Underground is one of those cool joints the family would enjoy going even if the food wasn't good. But it is good, really good. Famous burgers like the 1851, topped with pulled pork and hickory bacon, or the fire and ice chicken sandwich with Cholula honey and pepper jack cheese. The Baja fish tacos with crispy fried cod and avocado cream sauce is another favorite. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground in the historic Brick District in Fulton. Find them on Facebook and Instagram. Discover, explore, and soak in the views of the incredible landscapes that make up the last frontier, Alaska. Experience the diverse culture and rich history as we cruise the Pacific coast and explore the wilds of Denali, Glacier Bay, and beyond. And boy, do we have some good news. There are currently still seats available, but don't wait, as you only have until October 3rd to book this once-in-a-lifetime trip. To RSVP and learn more, go to ZimmerCommunications.com today.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton, Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. Afternoon baseball. Kevin Gausman going the distance.
Now pitch 100. On the ground at first. Picked by Vladdy. He goes to the bat. And Kevin Gausman has pitched a shutout. 6-0 the Blue Jays win. It's a good day to be a Toronto Blue Jay and a great day to be Kevin Gausman, who leads them to a series win.
Sportsnet 590, the Fan on the call. Gosman struck out 9, allowing just 2 hits and 1 walk. Davis Schneider homered and drove in 2. Astros now just a half game in front of the Mariners in the AL West after dropping 2 of 3. Seattle hosting the Angels with a chance to move into a tie tonight. Elsewhere, Yankees shortstop Anthony Volpe has a torn labrum in his left shoulder. Manager Aaron Boone expecting him to play through it. Had a cortisone shot yesterday. His 81 WRC plus, 141st of 146 qualified hitters this season. While in the NFL, Chiefs receiver Xavier Worthy returning to practice as a limited participant today, dealing with the shoulder injury he suffered in Friday's loss.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, we offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options to cover your small business needs and more. Visit Progressive.com today.
From Faro.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall, and it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brenden on KTGR.
Well, the Chiefs didn't start the season the way that they wanted to down there in Brazil. Now, week 2 comes, and you get a Super Bowl rematch against the Eagles to open things up stateside. How will the Chiefs perform? And more importantly, for this next segment coming up in just a few minutes, what are the key over-unders for the matchup, especially considering the news that Xavier Worthy back at practice today? Is that real? We'll talk about all that coming up with Chiefs over-unders in a few minutes. We'll play Fade Eliminate at 5:25, get you set for the weekend in fantasy football, and wrap things up today on the Big Show by talking a little Mizzou basketball with the news today that Trent Burns, key 7'5" player for the Mizzou men's basketball team, just had surgery. What's that mean for his upcoming availability this season? Into all that and more coming up in the next hour on the Big Show. 573-875-KTGR to call or text us. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Be alarmed. Be aware that Mizzou football will now kick off at noon on Saturday against Louisiana. It was 3 p.m. It's now noon. Heat expected in Columbia late afternoon. And as you have that sun beating down on those turf pellets, it starts to get a little unsafe for the players. So they move it earlier in the day. And I think a good, solid move to make this happen as Mizzou tries to make it a 3-0 start. We'll see if they can get that done. And particularly how the defense can look. Maybe the criticism that you have over, especially against the Kansas game, can they let up fewer explosive plays in the pass game? Lafayette hasn't really done a whole lot passing-wise through their first 2 games. So I'm sure Mizzou's defense trying to lick their chops and see if they can't get close to a shutout in this one. Again, a noon kickoff on Saturday. Yuengling Tiger Game Day show begins at 9 right here.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Mizzou basketball news today. Trent Burns, their 7'5" redshirt freshman center, undergoing surgery to repair a stress reaction in his right foot. That's going to put him out 6 weeks with potentially a return to play within 8 to 12 weeks from now for Mizzou basketball as they start their season around that time. He missed all of last season due to injury, kind of something similar, and so you hope that this solves the problem and that Mizzou can use the talents of one Trent Burns, because as Eli Hoff mentioned to us last hour, a 7'5" guy in the middle for Mizzou, that could change things a little bit. Haven't had a guy like that in a while, so we'll see if Trent Burns can make the court as soon as possible for the Tigers.
Number 3.
So Xavier Worthy was a limited participant at practice today. He didn't practice yesterday after the shoulder injury that put him out of the Chargers game very early on in Brazil. I don't know if this is like promising sign that maybe he plays this week, but I mean, it could mean next week you have him out there. I think the fact that he's practicing less than a week after that type of injury is still a promising sign for when you could potentially get him back, even if it's not for the Super Bowl rematch against the Eagles.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Cardinals swept another long ball by the Mariners, this time a walk-off. They finished that series. Cards going to move on to Milwaukee tomorrow. Royals go for a split in Cleveland as they try to hang on by a thread in the AL wildcard race, still 4 games back.
Number 5.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap!
Man, this Kawhi Leonard things keep getting unraveled and unraveled. Pablo Torre,
That's
man.
the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875 KTGR to call or text us. I mean, it was first that this shadow company was paying him a fake endorsement deal. Now it appears like there was some sort of late payment that then got covered, and now Pablo Torre uncovered that. But it's hard to follow the whole string of it all, but it doesn't seem all that great from the Clippers side or Kawhi Leonard or for the NBA, bottom line.
To see what that NBA investigation uncovers, because it seems like a lot of this is, sort of irrefutable. I know Mark Cuban had been pretty outspoken and went on Pablo Torre's podcast, basically kind of taking up for the Ballmer side of things to say, well, he was scammed. The Clippers were scammed and they weren't, trying to do anything unsavory with this, but it feels awfully far-fetched that there wasn't something nefarious going on, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what gets uncovered from here.
Lots to untangle, and we'll see how long it takes to do that in that situation. Call or text us 875-5847 here on The Big Show. You can text us over unders for Chiefs and Eagles. They're the 325 game on Sunday, and so that'll be a prime window, prime matchup, of course, and it's one that the Chiefs did. Like, do they need this one all of a sudden? Can't fall to 0-2.
Or what? Do they need it or what?
Well, then you do. I think you do put the division a bit in question if you start 0-2. Haven't done.
No, I think it's in question already. I think to have a really good feeling still about the division, yeah, you need this game. But I already don't have a very good feeling about the division, and I am not buying one bit this. I was going to call it a smokescreen, but I don't think it's really that, because nobody's trying to show anything to be anything that it's not. But people are going to get confused by this Xavier Worthy thing, in my opinion. I don't think it's very meaningful at all that he's back to practice today in a limited capacity.
Well, what did you think before? When did you think he would be back beforehand?
I thought that he's going to return and play soon, and we're going to find out when he plays if he can play. The deal is if he doesn't have the surgery, he's going to be able to play at some point. It won't be terribly long from now, and I never really thought it would be. I just don't think he's going to be effective when he's out there. And him coming back to practice in a limited capacity today doesn't suggest to me that when he's ready to play in an NFL game, he's going to be able to actually hold up and do it, because of the specific nature of the shoulder injury that he has at his size. I don't know that we're going to see that be a long-term experiment. And I don't think that waiting an extra week or two is going to make much of a difference either. So, at some point, we're going to see him test it. My concern, regardless of the timeline, is that when he tests it, it's not going to go in a way that he's able to continue, has been my belief really from the beginning.
So I don't disagree with that, with how effective he could be. I maybe amend a little bit of when I thought this guy could be available. It's probably not this week, but I was still kind of skeptical about next week too. And now I'm not so much. So that's kind of where I'm at with the
I disagree
Worthy
firmly,
stuff.
but I understand what you're saying. I don't subscribe to it at all being relevant that he's able to practice today, because once they told us he wasn't going to have surgery, at some point he was going to try to practice. It's not like he's cured. The idea is he's going to play through it. And if you're going to play through something, you might as well start today. It's not going to get any better. I don't think he's not going to be healed. He's going to have to wear a brace. He's going to have to try to play through the pain. That could happen today. It could happen tomorrow. I don't see why he wouldn't play Sunday, honestly, if he's able to practice, because I don't think it's going to heal in a week. I don't think it's going to change fundamentally. It's just, when do you want to put him out there and decide to see how difficult it's going to be for him from a pain tolerance, from a effectiveness, from a range of motion perspective, to do it and to be the version of Xavier Worthy that the Chiefs need. I think that could happen this week. It could happen next week. It could happen 2 weeks from now. Regardless of which one it ends up being, my thought on how successful the endeavor will be is unchanged. I don't think waiting 2 more weeks for something that's going to probably need a procedure in January or February however long the Chiefs make it. I kind of view it, it's probably not apples and apples because we're talking about a shoulder, but I view it like Mason Wynn with the Cardinals. He's got a torn meniscus. Like, he's going to need it repaired. I feel like at some point Worthy's going to need maybe something. And it's going to be, can you play through it until then? Maybe he can, Andy, but I'm worried about him at his size. Like, you take one hit that was a friendly hit from Kelsey. Take one from somebody who's not as friendly. I think this is a short-lived experiment whenever he returns to play, whether it's this week, 2 weeks from now, a month from now. I am not a long-term believer that Xavier Worthy's going to hold up in 2025.
And I'm still skeptical of that too. I will say on the Kelsey hit, like, we say friendly fire, but there's a reason why we don't see that a lot. It's so unexpected. You expect to be hit by opponents. You don't expect to be hit by your teammates. And so I can understand why that maybe hits a little bit harder at times, because you are less willing to prepare your body for that because you're not expecting it.
You weren't braced.
Right.
Yeah, you're not bracing for it because it was an accident.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Not a pun intended. No.
But either way, it will still be painful, I'm sure, for him. And I also need to see actual proof of him doing what he did before to believe that he'll make a major impact like we were expecting him to be for the Chiefs. Let's just say it, half a snap this weekend for Xavier Worthy.
It's a good line. I'll go over.
You think he plays?
I'm not firm on that. But if you ask me, I'm like 55% he plays, 45% he doesn't. I'm 0% that him playing this week rather than waiting a week is going to help his potential or hinder it to make it through the season with this injury. I think it's just a matter of when do they decide to test it. Maybe my understanding of the injury is not correct, but that's kind of what I have seen and read about it, is that it's like, it's going to be what it is. Can he play through it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think an extra 7 days of rest is going to suddenly heal him. I think when he goes out there, it's going to be about pain tolerance regardless when it comes to this shoulder.
Right.
So I think he might play. Like, tomorrow will tell the tale. If he's a full practice tomorrow, I think he'll play. If he's a limited tomorrow, after practicing today and then recovering, going limited tomorrow, could give him a decent shot at it. I don't think it's rushing him back, though. Like, I'm not questioning it if he does play and say, are they rushing him back too quickly? Him playing at all is going to be, like, my prediction is whether he plays this week or next week, he's going to play, and then he's going to end up on IR the next day on that Monday. I don't think it's going to work out. I'm a big-time skeptic of his long-range outcome, and I hope I'm wrong. This isn't like, I'm not a doctor, so don't hear this and think that this is like being that I'm going to be right, but that's just my opinion on what I expect to happen.
Well, I could see a scenario where he's practicing this week and he's trying out where his experienced pain is. Is it 70%? Is it 50? Is it 30? Whatever it is. And that also might not be linear. Like, he might feel worse tomorrow and not practice at all. And so,
and if he does, he doesn't play this year.
No. Oh, this year? Oh, I don't think about that. I don't think so.
Hollywood Brown. That's what happened with Hollywood
different
Brown
injury.
Last year.
Was it? No, yeah, it was.
I'm
not
asking.
a dislocated shoulder.
But it was
Hollywood Brown was more of a clavicle situation.
Okay.
So it not apples to apples there.
Not
same area of the body. You got to be careful, and
Yeah.
you got to take hits and be ready to do it, and you don't injure anything more. But no, I do think it is, when we talk about pain tolerance, yeah, pain could be worse one day and then better the next and then worse the next day. So, I mean,
I have a question. I have an over-under.
Okay.
Over-under games played. Where would you set that line for Xavier Worthy this regular season?
Rest of the year?
Not counting playoffs, yeah.
Oh, I'd say I'd put it at 8.5.
I would take the under pretty soundly.
I don't think so.
You're going over?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go.
I hope so. I hope you're right and I'm wrong.
Again, it'll be about how they manage it. And look, there's always the possibility, because we don't know for sure what it is. They don't tell us. They just tell us whether he's available, how much he practiced, and even that is kind of vague. We don't know that they saw what the injury was. They looked at the tests and they said, oh, it's not so bad. And so maybe that's the case. We don't know that. But again, I understand the skepticism. There are a lot of things to worry about when it comes to that. area of the body for wide receivers. But I'll be optimistic and say, here's the thing. I will say he does not play. I will go under on snaps this week. Doesn't play this week, but I think he eventually does come back
this week.
Yeah.
Okay. But the 8.5 games, I think, is particularly interesting because that's going to be that's going to tell the tale of like when he comes back, can he stay back?
Yeah, that's the main thing that the Chiefs, I'm sure, want to have answered as well. Give us a call or text over unders for Chiefs Eagles 875-KTGR. Let's go out to the KTGR hotline. Hello, who's this?
It's Dave.
Dave, what you got, my friend?
I've had a dislocated shoulder, and as soon as they put that booger back in place, man, the pain pretty well goes away, and I was back to work the next day. But being said, about 2 weeks later, I re-dislocated it and had to go to the hospital. And as I walked into the hospital, it went right back into place.
Huh.
So there's very little pain after they reset it, is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
But how many linebackers tackled you, though?
It was a hog, actually. I'm a butcher.
Oh, there you go. Hey, the same kind of. I guess it could be very similar. Appreciate the call, Dave. You're on the Big Show, KTGR. I mean, look, I can understand that part of it. There's always the risk, though, of like, okay.
I think it's a high re-injury risk. Yeah.
So, however the brace works for that type of injury and how it could work for Xavier Worthy going forward, then, I guess we'll find out. We won't necessarily find out for this game what it looks like, especially if he doesn't play. But it could be very interesting. Call or text us again, 875-KTGR, over-unders for Chiefs Eagles.
So moving beyond the Worthy stuff, I don't have a very good feeling about this game because the Chiefs didn't look very good to me, and the Eagles did in their first game, I thought.
Did they?
I mean, I thought they looked pretty good.
First half, yeah. I agree. Jalen Carter's back, so I mean they want everything that they want on defense to do what they need to do.
And the Chiefs can't run the ball anyway with Pacheco, so
right now
that's going to be a problem in this game. Can Mahomes put the team on his back is maybe the over/under question.
Yeah, I mean whatever Mahomes' number is on the passing probably is something to weigh in on. And if
235,
235, okay, over.
It has to be, or the Chiefs, I can promise you, lose the game.
I think you're right. Because that's also the vulnerability of the Eagles a little bit. Lean at the corner spot. You just got to make sure you give yourself enough time for Patrick Mahomes. This will be a big test for that offensive line, right? Like they're
going to see ghosts. They're going to be seeing ghosts. The ones that are left from last year's line.
Yeah, I mean, several guys. Josh Simmons doesn't have those ghosts though. Like he'll just be like, doesn't. You know what? Hey, I can try to prove myself and show that this group is a little bit more improved from last year. So that's the hope, at least for that.
I forget what time the Bears play on Sunday though, but somewhere Joe Thuney is going to be like in the middle of a game, is be like, the Eagles are pass rushing Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be like a cold sweat for him from hundreds of miles away.
Yeah,
there's going to be that feeling for Joe Thuney, I reckon.
I think so. I think you're right when it comes to that. And then everybody else on the Chiefs, Kelsey has to have a big game. Well, whatever his receiving total is, I would say it's got to be over.
Because for Mahomes, I mean, the 235, okay, human beings have to catch 235 yards worth of receiving. And that,
is Juju going to do that? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know either. Here's an interesting one. When you look on the different sports books, the jurisdictions of legality that I go to check for these, there's not anything receiving that I even see as an option to be bet right now because of the Worthy question mark. So, the degree to which that's going to impact things. I'll say Mahomes does clear that 235, Andy. I am not very confident that it's by much, though, if it happens. And I think it needs to be a good upper 200s passing day for the Chiefs offense to do enough to hang in this football game where they're going to be featured as a home underdog. In the past, Andy, that has been like an alarm bells thing for you. You're going to bet against the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Are you sure? But
I mean, I'm not,
man, this, yeah, I know you're not going to do it. I'm thinking about doing it, though.
No,
I really am.
Go ahead. I still see this as I trust in what Andy Reid puts together for his group. I trust what Patrick Mahomes does in the moment to put his team in position to win. In a game where, look, everyone's ready to write him off. Everyone's so ready to just say, oh, Chiefs won't even make the playoffs this year. They start
I'm not
0-2.
there yet, but I'm getting close to being like that guy this year. I don't like what I saw, man.
Look, everyone's already writing them off for the division after one game. Next, if they lose this one, then they'll be okay. Are they even a playoff team?
Does 9 wins get them a wild card? I don't know if we're gonna. Are we?
Probably not. I'll say no if that's the case.
You think they need to get to 10?
No, absolutely so. I don't think they'll finish with 10, though. I think they'll finish with more. Still,
do you?
But
I'm not so sure anymore. I'm really not.
Look, again, last time they lost their opening game, they won the Super Bowl. I don't know what. Again, it's just.
I think the dynasty's over.
Still,
I think this
the same
is the end.
group of
it's the
people, of individuals that are leading this thing. Like, come on.
Andy Reid's lost it. He's lost his
forgotten
marbles.
This plot. Come on.
Travis Kelce he's cooked. He's washed up.
Travis Kelce is about to go off for 110 yards on Sunday.
I hope you're right. Like, we're going to find out real quick in how they play the Eagles on Sunday, whether all this stuff that I'm kind of saying half tongue in cheek, kind of not, whether any of that carries any weight, because they were embarrassed in the Super Bowl. And I kind of thought that Super Bowl embarrassment would lead to a really good performance against the Chargers. And it was almost like the Mizzou A&M game where something early happens that they couldn't respond to it. I almost feel like Xavier Worthy leaving the field on a friendly fire. And it irks you even more because that's exactly what happened to Rashee Rice last year. Mahomes is the guy that got him.
Yeah.
It was not on purpose, but like that's what happened. And so I think they were a little shell-shocked from that game. If that preseason expectation I had of Chiefs are going to be on a warpath, if that shows up against the Eagles, everything's fine and I overreacted to one game, 100%. If that like true, they don't go out there and play their A game and maybe win it by a touchdown or two, like any win I'll take. But if they look like they looked against the Chargers again, I don't know if that warrior mentality warpath from Mahomes is coming out this year. I think it's got to show up this week.
If they complete the comeback and they win that game, I don't think we're saying that. I'm saying like, oh, look, the Chiefs once again are pulling themselves back from an early deficit and they still get it done. Same old Chiefs. Like that would be the proof of concept that I would see at least.
But did you think in that game against the Chargers they were coming back? Did you think it was going to be like normal where they just do a miracle and they win? Because I didn't. I was like, this is different. This feels different.
If Mahomes had gotten the ball back down 6, then I do think they would have gotten what they needed to do.
Chris Jones needs to catch more flack.
Yeah, look, and he took responsibility afterwards and everything like that. But that was a bad play. Like it just could not happen for a guy as experienced and as talented and as highly paid as he is. Cannot do that.
Was that in a press conference or was that when? Because I know post game, like, as it happened, he was fighting with Drew Tranquil.
Right. Either after the game or I don't remember the last time that he got to speak in front of people.
He had a quote about it though at some point.
Yeah, he did. He fessed up to it, said, got to be better. But look, like those can't happen. And if the Chiefs top players make those types of mistakes game after game, in big spots, then okay, sound the alarm bells. What's happening? Why is Andy Reid's team all of a sudden susceptible to this sort of stuff? One game, look, it's happened before, and the Chiefs have been able to respond very quickly after that. I have a feeling that they'll do that when the Super Bowl champion from last year that completely embarrassed them in New Orleans comes into their building in a friendly environment for them at least, and they take care of business.
I'm excited for the game. I love your optimism. I can't wait for tomorrow for our score predictions for this game because I'm pumped for both my score predictions tomorrow. Can I say that? I kind of know the direction I'm going with Mizzou, and I'm excited for that. This one I'm excited for as well. Let me run a couple by you real quick, though. Isaiah Pacheco, 34.5 rushing yards, over under. That's a low number for an RB1, man.
I will reluctantly say over.
You don't want to, though, do you? I'm taking under. I'm going under. I'm sorry. I don't see it right now from Pacheco. I will not be fooled into believing in him until he gives
maybe Kareem Hunt outgains him. That's always possible. They use him.
His is 23.5. I like his number way better than Pacheco's.
Yeah, I actually do too. Yeah, I'd say over on a Kareem Hunt.
But I think you got to run it a little bit against the Eagles. But Carter's going to be motivated for this game.
Well, again,
5
yards a carry for Isaiah Pacheco last game. He only got it 5 times. Like, if you give it to him more, then he should give you a good amount of production. But again, the Eagles run defense very tough. But give him a chance at least, you know?
I got 2 more for you. I'm making this one up on the fly. Chiefs leading pass catcher. I don't care who it is because we're leaving room for it to be like worthy to play to not play.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to go. Hollywood had 99 yards in the last game. Juju had 55. Those are the only 2 above 50. Thornton and Kelsey had 40. So they spread it around pretty good in the first game. Do we get a 84.5? Does somebody emerge and be that
yards
level
getter receiving wise goes above 84.5? Yes. Over.
Who's your favorite for that?
Kelsey is my favorite for that.
Interesting. So, and there's not odds right now because nobody knows what the Worthy thing is. But I'll bet you, even if Worthy plays or doesn't play, Kelsey's number won't be 84.5. So that could be an interesting angle. One more for you from the other side. A.J. Brown, a lot has been made about his week 1 not really being involved as a pass catcher.
Only 1 catch.
But he was cool with it. I saw a podcast with him where he said, like, I was blocking, I was taking coverage away, and so Jahan Dotson gets a play. Like, we won the game, and I felt like he was very anti-diva in what I saw A.J. Brown talk about it with Jordan Schultz.
Sure.
65.5 is A.J. Brown's yardage. Does he have a game where he hasn't been, like, complaining, but is it almost like his attitude about it has been so good, we are going to go out of our way to make sure he gets some work this week? 65.5 for A.J. Brown in receiving yards, over under.
Well, he screwed up my underdog entry last week, so I want to just say under just out of spite. I can tell you that number is only 4 yards less than the number he had last week. I remember the number he had very vividly last week for reasons, but
don't think he got there.
No.
Don't think he got there.
He'll go over. He'll go over that number.
I think it's a big game for him too. Yeah, I agree.
875 KTGR. Give us a call or a text to give us your over-unders for Chiefs and Eagles coming up on Sunday. Big game for both sides. Can the Chiefs bounce back? We'll see here on the Big Show KTGR. Up next, Play, Fade, Eliminate. Text in your questions to us. Brenden will answer them. You can also comment on YouTube at KTGR Sports. We'll show those as well. Here on the Big Show, KTGR.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR.
Always ahead of the curve? Seem to know what's going to happen? Like a prophet? Prove it, Nostradamus, with Profit Shares. Predict the outcome of every black and gold game or whoever your favorite team is. It's all at Profit Shares, and it doesn't cost a thing to play. Make your predictions risk-free and win prizes like gift cards to Amazon, Chick-fil-A, and other favorites. Or donate your winnings to charities. Contests are open now. Play for free at ProfitShares.com. PROPHET shares.com.
Hey, it's Molly, and it's football season at Billiards. What he said was, our Missouri teams are going to be really good this year.
I did love me an old gift.
That's right. So whether you watch on Saturdays or Sundays, Billiards has the biggest TVs in Columbia.
Have you give it out on H2O?
Whether you're hydrating with H2O or a cold Missouri beer on tap, watch your favorite teams all season at Billiards.
You gotta have the boogie on down.
Billiards on Broadway. Now that's high quality.
You know that old driver in the corner of your garage? The one half jammed into an old golf bag that's now serving as a spider hotel? Yeah, somebody wants that driver, you know. Play it against sports. They'll pay you for the gear you're not using. Golf equipment, fitness gear, baseball, softball, and more. Bring it in and cash out, or upgrade to something you need for the upcoming season. Play it against sports wants your used equipment. They need it. So don't sit on it, swing on it. Play it against sports in Columbia. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play it against sportscolumbiamo.com.
On game day, every needs a. And every tailgate needs Kingsford charcoal. And a match. Whatever lot you're in, whatever you're grilling up for your fellow Tiger tailgaters, Kingsford charcoal is the official charcoal of Missouri football. Without it, You're just standing around in a parking lot. Since 1920, Kingsford has been proud to fire up your tailgates with friends and family. Kingsford.com.
It's another perfect morning. Birds chirping, coffee steaming, and you living your best outdoor life. But so is something else. Clinging, lurking, plotting. Later, you feel the itch. You scratch, you panic, and you realize that tick is locked in on your leg like it signed a lease. It's not just gross. It's dangerous. Ticks cause drama and carry disease. So what do? If you could, you'd probably just light yourself on fire. But you can't. So you call Steve's Pest Control. Steve and his team are just as local as they are lethal, which means they've got what it takes to tackle your tick problem. Because pests are local, so is the guy who eliminates them. Steve and his team don't just spray and pray, they slay.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, this is Jimmy with Pro Designs, and maybe you've heard, we're the vehicle wrap specialists, but branding your business doesn't stop there. At Pro Designs, we can wrap your walls, windows, even floors.
Go to ProDezigns.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Big one between Chiefs and Eagles on Sunday. 875-KTGR. Over-unders. You can text them into us and tell us what you think the stats will be on either side. How will the game script go between these two? And look, if the Chiefs don't get that one, I will agree that things will look pretty bleak after that, especially with how the schedule lines up and how you're trying to piece together the wins while Rashee Rice is out over the next 4 weeks. But I'm confident. I have not been fazed all that much by the Chargers' loss. Sue me.
I'm so fazed. I'm so fazed. It's more about the Worthy thing, though, really, because I'm not confident that he's going to be it's going to work. I'm worried about that, man. Maybe it's because I've got him on too many fantasy teams, but I'll talk about it in Play Fade Eliminate briefly. But I would trade Worthy for about any receiver in the same round that you drafted him. If there's a person that goes, oh man, I'm buying Worthy low. Maybe there's a guy that was drafted in that 5th round where they had a bad week or something. You know, Devontae Smith, great example on the other side of the same game. I don't think he did much last week. I would do those type of trades to get, and I'm not going to be able to now that I'm talking about it on the radio, but you know, that's kind of the way I think about the Worthy situation. It's risky with a shoulder.
I don't doubt that. We'll see how the Chiefs decide to play it going forward, but let's play this. Week 2, you're trying to just either shake off the sting from losing week 1, which is never fun, but it's a long season. Get back up off the mat as quickly as possible. Brendan's going to help you with that, of course.
And I'll try to do the same in some of my leagues. Dude, I've never had a week 1 where like in several leagues, I was either the 2nd or 3rd highest scorer in the league, and I lost my matchup. That burns you up when you just happen to play the guy that scored the most in your league. You ever have that happen? That's no fun at all, because you're like, my team played well, but you're staring at that 0-1 in the standings, and it just burns you up, man. So, yeah, let's get back on the horse this weekend, everybody.
Well, reluctantly, we're going to go to David first on the texter.
Oh, no. Okay.
Not as fun when we have to start that way, do we?
He pays a lot of money to sponsor this segment.
I know.
So we're gonna,
it really does.
No, wait a minute. That's right.
Philosophical question from David. He says, do I start both Debo and Jaden Reed against each other in Thursday night football tonight? Losing week 1 makes me want to take a big swing Thursday night. Does the Thursday night stigma remain? Jaden Reed and Debo Samuel.
Yeah, I think we've seen at times where like that doesn't apply about overs or unders on Thursday night. Like last year, there were plenty of big games. Should have been one last week if CeeDee Lamb could catch, we would be having a completely different conversation about the over-under from the week one opener on Thursday.
Yeah.
What is the first thing that I'm going to say, Andy, when it comes to should I play two guys from the same matchup on opposite teams?
Well,
what's the first thing I'm going to look at?
You're going to.
You have a guess?
I mean, first of all, you're going to say don't put him in the flex. I know you're going to say that.
That should be the first thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
I would ring the bell if I had a bell.
Okay, I'll ring it. Here we go. That's it. Yeah.
There we go. That's number one. Number two is what's the over-under in the game? 48.5 is the answer to that question, which means, that's pretty good. It's not 50, but I don't know how many games from this weekend are going to be as a 50, Andy. The NFL week one, it seemed like, just anecdotally, scores were a little bit muted. I'm looking through now on the sports book. I don't see another until I get to Jacksonville Bengals. That's one that beats the 48.5 expectation from week two. The Miami Bills is 48.5. And that's the Monday night game. That's the second Monday night game. So this is tied for the second highest game total of the week. Assuming Jaden Reed's healthy, which I think he's playing through a foot injury. He played last week, played okay. I would play them both. Yeah. Because I look at that. What's the total? What does Vegas say? 48.5. That's about as many points as any game is supposed to score. So you at least have a process when you go into it. I would play them both because both those guys are good players for the teams that they're on. Yeah, I would run them both out there. Debo got a ton of targets last week. I like him tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. Play, fade, eliminate. Call or text us here, 875-KTGR. Let's go out to the KTGR hotline. Who's this?
Carlton.
Colton, you're on the Big Show. Do you have a play, fade, eliminate question for us? Hello, Colton. Oh, no, he's gone.
That was the wrong number. He thought he was calling I don't know, for his DoorDash or something. I don't know what he thought.
Either
Maybe
way.
He got spooked. He's like, what's play, fade, eliminate? I wanted to talk about David Worthy, and then he was spooked. I don't know. Maybe that could have been.
Hey, I got one for you.
Okay.
Here we go. Play, fade, eliminate. Running backs. Travis Etienne. Javonte Williams. Travion Henderson.
Man, the first two names were guys who popped off in week one in a major way and weren't really expected to. And then Henderson was the one that everybody was hot to trot for, thought he would be great. And he was, he was okay.
He'll get there.
I think he'll get there as well. He's playing the Dolphins. The Dolphins are reeling. I was a Mike McDaniel fan, Andy. I was a supporter of his.
Yeah.
I said, you don't have to look or sound a certain way to be a successful NFL coach. You can be kind of silly. You can be a dorky guy. You can be tongue-in-cheek with your comments. I'm starting to question whether I was right about that. It's disaster right now for the Dolphins. I would probably look to play Travion Henderson, even though I'm not sitting the other guys either. If you've got that situation, I would consider flexing a running back, even in PPR, because I do like all three of those guys. Javonte should have a really good game. He's the number one for the Cowboys. I don't think Jaden Blue is even going to be active again. If he is, minimal role. So I really don't want to label any of these guys as a fade. Travis Etienne, they just traded away Tank Bigsby. Now, the Jaguars, we should have talked about this.
Also Cody
Schrader now.
Is he's on the active roster, too? He's
I
on
believe
53.
They signed him.
Yeah.
He's on but now he's behind, still in the depth chart. He'll probably be on special teams. They've got LaQuint Allen as the 3, and then Bashaw Tutin is their number 2. But that's a lot of mouths to feed. Bengals buttoned up a little bit more against the ground game against the Browns in week 1. So I would say, ranking those favorites, Javonte's probably my favorite play. I want to play Henderson as well against the Dolphins. The only fade I will do slightly is ETN relative to the other two. I think all three are actually pretty good plays. None should be eliminated from consideration. I'll even break the rules of the game to tell you that.
Interesting. Okay.
ETN popped off last week, man, and people were leaving him for dead too, kind of like Javonte.
All right. How about wide receivers now? Play, fade, eliminate. Rome Odunze. Keenan Allen. Keon Coleman.
Man, Coleman for the Bills, as that game was going along last week on Sunday night, was a lot of fun to watch. Facing the Jets, and you normally go, oh, Jets, usually pretty good defense, not good offense. Last week, they gave up 30-something to Rodgers. So Keon Coleman, I would probably want to try to stay in the flames a little bit with Keon Coleman, understanding that it may be a little bit weird with a divisional game. Sometimes that can take your expectations and turn them upside down. Keenan Allen in PPR, man, it's like he's just settling right back in with the Chargers. Chiefs supposed to have a pretty good defense, right? And I felt like Keenan Allen made it look really easy last weekend. So that's another guy that I'm not afraid to play. Who is your third receiver? Coleman, Allen, and Roma Dunze. Yeah, Dunze. I was struck by how bad I thought Caleb Williams looked. Like, there will be good games for Dunze. I drafted a lot of him in leagues. I'm a little concerned about him. Right now, he's my eliminate for this week until I see it, because I just don't know about it with Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson playing against the Lions, maybe that helps. Maybe he's just so motivated he's gonna really show the goods in this one. But they also are pretty familiar with what Ben Johnson's going to try to do with them. You don't think Dan Campbell's aware? So I'm going to say eliminate for right now. They don't drop him. You don't even have to trade him. But I'm a little tepid on him. Yeah, I would say Coleman, maybe the fade, just because Josh Allen could spread it around. I'm firing him up, Keenan Allen, though. It was like instantaneous how good he looked for the Chargers, back involved with that team again after being with the Bears last year.
Call or text us here, 875-KTGR on the Big Show. If you want to give us a question for Play, Fade, Eliminate in fantasy football, YouTube comments also open at KTGR Sports. Want tight ends? Some tight ends?
Yeah, I'll take them. Give me some fringy guys. Make it tough.
Here we go. Brenton Strange.
That is a strange one.
Juwan Johnson. Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram should be – I don't think he did much last week. He should be better. He should be – that was a weird game. Broncos,
new team,
Titans.
I think eventually he gets acclimated. I agree with you.
I didn't love him. Like, I didn't draft him anywhere because he was in that range of tight ends that I was like, a little bit iffy. But I think of the names you said, he was the guy getting drafted the highest. Strange is interesting, though, with Trevor Lawrence, because if that does turn into a shootout, which it's the highest over-under for Bengals-Jags, that could end up being that he finds the end zone or something with that one. But I'll say play Ingram just because I feel like Bo Nix is not going to turn into a pumpkin quite to that degree. It was a weird game last week, and I think he'll have a better one against the Colts this week, although the Colts play pretty good defense, and that's a road game. But I'll say play him. I'll fade Brenton Strange. I'll eliminate Juwan Johnson, but I don't hate him. It's just like I don't really want to trust Spencer Rattler against the 49ers. That's the reason for me. I'm not into that.
It's a solid reasoning. I agree with you on that. Chaz texted in on our Facebook page.
There we go.
You can also do. Send us a message there.
Heck, and you can throw it right on YouTube, too, if you wanted as well.
YouTube, comments, right there. Texter, open. We're not hard to find.
We're not.
Wide receiver 2. Devontae Smith, Ladd McConkey, and Tet McMillan.
I think I'm not ever sitting McConkey ever. So he's my play. Again, these are all guys that are maybe a smaller league, or you just drafted really, really well. Because I like all these guys. But I'll rank them this week. McConkey, number 1, McMillan, 2, Devontae Smith, 3. Like I said, I think it might be an A.J. Brown week against the Chiefs. Smith, you can't ever sit Smith, though. I would hope you're flexing whoever you don't pick for this spot. But McConkey should be a target hog and had a mid game last week and still got you 13.5 in PPR. So McConkey's the play. Tet McMillan, I like. May take a little bit more time to get going, though, he might actually be the eliminate because it's just hard to sit Devontae Smith.
Oh, Tet McMillan? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I like Tet McMillan a lot, but Bryce Young is going to have some growing pains still, it appears. And by the way, we got one in on the texter as well from Evan in Boonville, who wants to know Zay Flowers or Hollywood Brown. That's a really fun one.
Oh, yeah.
Because Mahomes is going to need Hollywood Brown, but I'm not sitting Zay Flowers for Hollywood. I would look to get Hollywood in my lineup, but I'm Zay Flowers on that.
Flowers was good in that game against Buffalo, man. Like,
he was really good.
I think I agree with you on that. Brown's not a bad play, but down to those two.
He's a good, I even had some leagues where I picked up Brown knowing that I had Rashee Rice suspended, and that was kind of going to be the way I handled it. With Worthy out, it's even a better look for the first 6 weeks until Rice gets back when you're talking about Hollywood.
875-5847. Text us, call us. You can comment on our YouTube channel or message us on Facebook. Play Fade Eliminate here on The Big Show, KTGR. Up next, we will talk the Mizzou basketball news of the day. Can Trent Burns come back strong to contribute to Mizzou basketball this year? Next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Time change for Mizzou football on Saturday. The Tigers and Ragin' Cajuns from Louisiana will now kick off at noon. Mizzou Athletics announcing that change from the original 3 p.m. start time today. It is due to the extreme heat that is expected in Columbia that afternoon. So moving the game time earlier to a more mild time potentially for playing that game. The Yuengling Tiger Game Day show will begin at 9 a.m. right here on KTGR before the noon kickoff on Saturday. Mizzou basketball announced today that 7'5" redshirt freshman center Trent Burns is undergoing surgery to repair a stress reaction in his right foot. He will be sidelined for 6 weeks and then potentially could return within an 8 to 12 week recovery timeline window. That would put him potentially returning in the month of November for Mizzou basketball. Did not play at all last season due to injury and kept the red shirt. Mizzou starts the season November 3rd. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with the Boone County Office of Emergency Management, inviting you to the 5th Annual Ready Festival at Cosmo Park September 18th. Visit ready.boonemo.org.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking a mild and clear night as we drop down into the mid-60s. Tomorrow's hotter with highs making it up into the mid-90s with sunny skies. Tomorrow evening, we're going to be dropping back down into the upper 60s with a warm Saturday ahead. We'll see highs getting up into the upper 90s with sunshine. We'll see an isolated chance for storms and highs in the 90s on Sunday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
The Rich Eisen Show.
The Los Angeles Chargers are a top 5 team in the NFL. Yeah, they are. I saw them with my own 2 eyes, man. They got it all done. They did not suffer their usual issues against the Chiefs.
That's true.
They locked it down. They got it done. Herbert looked like an MVP quarterback. 300 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Quentin Johnston caught 2. Let's go.
Catch The Rich Eisen Show weekdays from 11 to 2 on KTGR and the KTGR app.
Hey, it's Andy and Brenden here with Underdog Fantasy. As we get closer to the weekends, you're getting those football picks ready, I'm sure, with Underdog. Go and check out the app now. It's really easy to use, and there are so many picks to choose from college football, NFL football, and all other sports happening this weekend, Brenden.
Yeah, how about some Thursday night college football for you between Wake Forest and NC State? The Wake Forest quarterback Robbie Ashford has been getting involved in the running game. I like him to go higher than 44.5 rushing yards on Thursday night against the Wolfpack.
Hey, that's an interesting one. You could take a pick like that, pair it up with the Thursday night NFL game tonight, maybe throw in some picks for later this weekend, and you've got yourself an Underdog entry. It's that easy to play. Download the Underdog app. You can play right now in Missouri and sign up with our promo code KTGR to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code KTGR. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Upgrade your home with premium flooring options from Mohawk. Engaged sheet vinyl flooring adds style to any room. It's durable and waterproof, making it an ideal choice for active households. Plus, it's quick and easy to install. View our entire selection of Mohawk flooring on Menards.com. Plus, our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards. From Branson Landing to the Capitol Dome, Union Station to the Tigers' home. Big old services, Missouri's best. Our trusted team outpaces the rest. Show me safe coverage wherever you go. We've got you covered at Big O.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering, and with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Sweetie, the backyard's that way.
Oh, yeah. Just figured I'd use the toilet.
It's not normal for your man to pee indoors. He could be suffering from low D, low deck. A low deck just isn't as fun to pee off.
Maybe I'll try sitting down.
Or no D, no deck at all. But there's help with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. A sky-high pee platform is all he needs to be and pee like a man again. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside.
Columbia just got armed. Minutemen Defense is your new destination for guns, ammo, and tactical gear that means business. From holsters and body armor to night vision and magazines, if you need it, they've got it. Plus, the cheapest ammo in town, guaranteed. Located right off I-70 and Rangeline for fast, easy access, locally owned, veteran approved, built for serious shooters. Minutemen Defense. Get there. Visit MinutemenDefenseLLC.com.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brenden on The Big Show on KTGR.
You can continue to text us, call us with your fantasy football questions, 573-875-KTGR here on The Big Show with Andy and Brenden as we talk some football, but also, amazingly, we're talking basketball this week. There's been very good reasons to do so. Tony Bryant committing to Mizzou basketball's class of 2026, 5-star forward. It's now 2 5-stars for Dennis Gates in that class. Pretty well done there so far. Today, we learned a bit of concerning news. Trent Burns going to undergo surgery on a stress reaction in his right foot and will be out really leading up until the season. They say he's out for 6 weeks, which puts you at late October to potentially, I would think, return to the practice floor and get back to game shape. And then said today in the release that they sent out, 8 to 12 weeks is the hopeful recovery timeline for Trent Burns to potentially make it really his Tiger debut. Hasn't appeared in a regular season game yet. So preserved the red shirt last year because of the injury. And so Tigers looking to get him on the floor in any capacity this season. But seems that there might be a bit of a delay to that. It's not a huge alarm bell thing. Like, again, get it right. Like if it lingered last year, you tried to rest on it, just make sure that it is taken care of because you don't want that to linger, but at least something to watch for early this season.
Yeah, and I'm probably more pessimistic than you are. What a surprise there. I just think when you're a guy that's 7'5" and you're dealing with the foot and you're dealing with, it just feels like one of those things that is ominous. But like he's having a procedure. So like, we don't want to downplay that to say, oh, he'll be back. Like, I don't look at that 8 to 12 weeks and go, yeah, he'll be back at the end of that and it'll be great. Like it might not be, and the hope is that he is, but a guy who's 7'5" dealing with foot surgeries, like you're just hoping for the best. And hopefully we do see him make an impact because I think if he's healthy, he will be a very impactful player for Missouri this year.
It's something that excites you because, again, we haven't really seen this at Mizzou before. 7'5", like if you can utilize that and it becomes effective for your team on either side of the floor, then you start to think about what that could mean, what Mizzou could potentially reach if Burns is starting to show some flashes that he wasn't able to show last year. And yeah, it means that you're relying upon the depth that you were probably going to have to rely upon anyway. Sean Phillips comes in as your transfer big. You'll want him to play a big role anyway. Mark Mitchell, obviously down low, is your more prolific scorer there. I do wonder what it means, though, for guys like Luke Northweather and guys like Nicholas Randall, the true freshman, if he gets more chances because of this. with down low opportunities. However, they want to try and use him, whether he's more of a stretch guy, you throw him outside, but he gives you size that you could use at the rim at times. I wonder what it means for those players. It probably affects them a little bit more than maybe the guys that we thought to be rotation guys anyway.
Yeah, it's an opportunity, right, to see more of those guys. Burns is the one that can be like a true unicorn and make a big difference, and so you're just hoping the best for his health. But again, the reason that people might say, well, why are they doing this in September? The season's about to begin. It's like surgical intervention is usually like the last resort when the other methods of resolving the issue or alleviating the pain, the discomfort don't work. And so like that's why they tried to avoid this. The fact that they tried to avoid it and it had to happen anyway is a reason that I am not super optimistic that like that 12 weeks he'll be back and he'll be great. You're hoping that that's the case though. And if it's not, that's why you have depth and that's why you have a deep roster.
And again, as it seemed, this was the very last moment that you could do this procedure for Trent Burns before risking a lot of his season. Because look, for what he probably showed during the summer, they want him out on the floor. And we'll see how soon that can be for them this year. But maybe plan at some point in November on the optimistic side for him to be out there. The end of the 12 weeks, I think, would be early December. So maybe that's the case. But either way, we'll see what the Tigers decide to do with their depth at the big man spot going forward for the start of this season. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks to Eli Hoff for joining us last hour. You can find that at ktgr.com if you missed it. Of course, tomorrow we put our predictions down for Chiefs Eagles and Mizzou, Louisiana for what is now a noon kickoff. In case you didn't hear, a little bit earlier start time than what was originally planned, but not too dissimilar, 3 hours earlier, and just be ready to get to the stadium a little bit sooner. So we'll put our predictions down on paper. Tomorrow we'll have our picks of the week. We'll have Rob Vino of WagerTalk.com and a lot more. So be sure to join us tomorrow at 4 o'clock. He's Brenden. I'm Andy. We're done for now.